in a galaxy far, far away. These are the opening words in the epilogue of Star Wars A New Hope, which was released in 1977 by George Lucas. Now, nobody knew that this movie would take off as much as it did, but it did, selling way over what they thought it would be in the box office. Now, anything before A New Hope is considered the prequels. Now, I'm just going to be talking about the life of Anakin Skywalker in the prequels, because in the sequels, he's referenced a lot, which is pretty much what I'm trying to say is he's one of the most important characters, and people tend to look over the prequels, and even if you're new, this is a great starting point. Now, I've seen every Star Wars movie, show, short, skit, deleted scene, so I am by far one of the best people you can go to talk about this. Now, like I said before, this is a great starting point. If you're new, you can jump along. Even if you think it's too late, it's not, because they continuously go back. Because even if they're so far ahead in the main storyline with the movies, they will go back and add more details for more things to make sense. So it's not too late for you to jump on this. And we're going to go into the first episode, which is The Phantom Menace, which was the least grossing film, going over $99.9 million in the box office, which is the global. Now, this is where I'm beginning because this is the beginning of the timeline. Now, there are events that took prior to this, but they're very minimum and they tend to cause a lot of confusion. Now, we are introduced to there are Sith and there are Jedi. This is very important because this will begin to show what happens in the future of these movies. Now, Anakin Skywalker believes that Jedi aren't real. He lives on a planet called Tatooine and he is a slave. His dad is unknown and him and his mom live there under a guy named Motto. Now, correction, this might not be his real name because it's seen as in different things as the comics and the movies. In the movies, he's known as Gato, but now in the books, they name him something else, so it's not really known. Now, the Jedi show him, which the Jedi's names are Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, they show him a lightsaber. He loves it. He wants to go with them to the temple because Qui-Gon Jinn found out, and he's a Jedi Master from the temple, which is where all of the Jedi stay. It's like their main point of doing occasions and consulting on major conflicts. Now, Qui-Gon Jinn finds out that Anakin Skywalker is the chosen one, which will bring balance to the Force. Now, to this time, the Sith, who use the Force, which is an unseen object that moves through all living things, the Sith use the Force to get absolute power, and they do it to take over their master's position. That's the whole way of the Sith. The master teaches the student eventually kills the master and becomes a master, and then the cycle will continue. This is the rule of two. And it's been like this for a long time. It's a very ancient technique. Now, the Jedi Temple is on Coruscant, and Anakin, with the consent of his mother, lets him go after working out a deal with their slave master, which meant that the mom would stay behind, and he would be able to go. Now, Anakin at this time meets the Queen of Naboo, which is a different planet, and her name is Padme Amidala. Now, in the next movie, Attack of the Clones, Padme Amidala leaves her position as queen and becomes the senator. And that's because the senator of Naboo became the chancellor, which is pretty much the president of the galaxy. Now, Anakin is on Coruscant training throughout these years and eventually makes his way around to meeting Padme because of his power. And he's, one of the most powerful Jedi at this time. And him and her start to catch feelings and go into a secret relationship because it's against the Jedi code to get into a relationship with someone else. Now, at the Battle of Geonosis, they are caught, and then there is a giant war that breaks out. Now, this war does not completely revolve around Anakin Skywalker. All you need to know about is he was saved from a kind of a death match that the people of Geonosis create. Now, Anakin has these nightmares, and he sees his mother dying. So he tells the temple, he asks them so many times, can I go see my mom? Can I go back to Tatooine? Can I check up on her? Can I get her? Can I buy her back and let her be free? But the temple and the council, which the council is pretty much the highest Jedi, and they believe that he should not go because his training is too important. Now, Anakin goes to Tatooine right after having another nightmare of his mother dying and finds out that the previous slave owner sold them to Tuskens, which is a different species of people. The Tuskens are known for killing their slaves, and they do it out of fun, and they do it to invite new Tuskens into their tribe. It's kind of a ceremonial sacrifice, but it's not of their own people. Now, Anakin holds his mother as she dies and then goes out and kills every single person in the Tusken camp. That is one of the famous lines of, not just the men, but the women and the children do too. They're like animals, so I slaughtered them like them, which is a quote from Anakin in the second movie when he kills the entire camp. Now, Anakin, with his master Obi-Wan Kenobi, goes to Geonosis, and they fight Count Dooku. Now, Count Dooku is a powerful Sith who was, at this time, believed to be the only one, because they killed the previous one. And the previous one, if it was not important, he killed Qui-Gon Jinn, and Obi-Wan took custody of Anakin as his master. Now, Count Dooku cuts off Anakin's arm, and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin retreat, and they have to be saved again while Count Dooku escapes. This is pretty much all that happens in the second movie. There's people complain about it a lot because of the lack of emotion that is shown by Padme and Anakin, and everyone believes that the relationship that Anakin and Padme make is fake, and that people don't believe it. Now, in the third movie, things take a twist. You have Anakin, who is the Chancellor's bodyguard due to his power, and remember, the Chancellor is pretty much like the President, so Anakin is pretty much the only Secret Service member that revolves around the Chancellor. Now, the Chancellor and Anakin become friends, and Anakin shares advice, he shares stories, he shares his nightmares, which he was only supposed to share with a couple of people, meaning the Jedi Temple and his master. So Anakin, he goes with Chancellor, figures out all these different things, he asks a bunch of questions, but it turns out he finds out the Chancellor is actually the Sith Lord, which means that the Chancellor has been doing all these different things, starting wars, to pretty much try to eliminate the Jedi, because the Sith and Jedi have a very ancient rivalry. Now, Anakin, in the beginning of the movie, kills Count Dooku on a ship due to his power just being doubled, which is what he says. My powers have doubled since the last time we met Count, which is a quote from Anakin in the third movie. And Anakin figures out that Palpatine was manipulating him to kill Count Dooku. But at this time, Anakin only believes that the Chancellor is like a father figure to him, since he never had a father. Now, after they fight, different occasions happen to where his master Kenobi flies to a different planet to fight someone else, and Anakin talks more with the Chancellor, finding out that he can actually save Padme's life, allegedly. So, Anakin tells the second most powerful Jedi in the Temple, Mace Windu, saying that Palpatine is the Sith Lord. Mace Windu and a couple of other people go to the quarters of Palpatine and try to kill him. The issue is, Anakin goes there and saves the Chancellor, of course, named Palpatine, killing Mace Windu, which results in the Chancellor releasing an all-out attack on the Jedi, claiming that they did this completely out of sense. The Jedi are trying to take over. So the Chancellor converts Anakin Skywalker, who was he was one of the greatest Jedi fighting, he rarely ever lost a battle, into a full-blown Sith Lord named Darth Vader, which is a huge reveal because in the movies like Empire Strikes Back, we find out that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. Luke Skywalker is one of the most iconic characters alongside of Darth Vader. And this is why this is very important, because if you know about Anakin Skywalker, you know about what's going to go on in the second threes of movies. Now, Palpatine sends Anakin, or a new name, Darth Vader, he sends him to the temple to kill every single person, the children, the masters, everyone, and he takes some troops with him. He takes an entire battalion. Pretty much, the people that fought with him as he was a Jedi convert into Sith troopers, and they fight for Anakin. There's a siege on the temple, and then Anakin fights Kenobi on a different planet called Mustafar, which is a lava planet. Anakin loses the fight, and then that's when he gets the armor that we always see him wearing. Now, was Anakin really the chosen one? Well, we'll find that out in the next movies. But like Yoda always says, and he's the Grand Master of the Jedi, which means he's the most powerful, like he said, may the Force be with you.